The question addressed to me. Yeah, Taurus, of course, has an important part to play as well there. Yeah, on the side of the banks, as we are quite fortunate, as I mentioned, many of the traditional banks are now already adopted cryptocurrencies into their core banking systems. I mentioned many of the traditional banks are now already adopted cryptocurrencies into their core banking systems.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be jumping down the rabbit hole or reading a very interesting document labeled Institutional DeFi Navigating the Current Landscape from June 2024. Lots of jam-packed information in this. If you all enjoy these video breakdowns, doing these deep research dives for you all, confirming some things and information that we've put out in previous video breakdowns, showing you all devils in the details, then do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We do appreciate the love and the support. With that being said, I'm going to share screen. I just wanted to give a shout out to the individual on the X space that sent this to me. Smoke, shout out to you, my friend. You do phenomenal research. If you don't follow this individual on X, make sure that you go do so. No opinionated information, just straight value in my personal opinion. So shout out to Smoke for sharing this document with me, or at least a snippet of this document. I then took it upon myself further to read this document in full, and I want to share that with you all today because there are some valuable gems in this document surrounding the institutional DeFi landscape, which again has been vamping up over the past consecutive couple of months. And I think that everybody in the crypto space should be paying attention to DeFi. Obviously, of course, here in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club, we do educate individuals on how we are participating in the DeFi space. If you want to come check that information out, again, visit cyprxtrading.com. We'd love to have you on the team. But some of the things that we've been sharing on the CYPRX platform are pretty much, in a sense, covered in this breakdown. And I'm going to show you that in today's video breakdown via some panel discussions and video clips that I've personally shared from within our private CYPRX Discord that actually coexist and commingle with some of the statements made in this document. So let's just go through and let's read this. Let's jump in. So institutional DeFi navigating the landscape. I'm going to, again, try to accomplish this in a short period of time, but stick around for the entirety of this video breakdown because this information is juicy. From June 2024. Now, we only have roughly about 20 pages to read, and I'm not going to read every single page. Again, I'm just going to read the highlights that I have, but I want you to just kind of read what this paper is even about, what it is, who was involved in this paper, so that way you actually want to stick around and hear the information that I'm going to present to you all, because it's from organizations, it's from banks, it's from financial institutions, it's from people with much more money than you and I. So again, in my personal opinion, you should be paying attention. So the scope of this overall study of this document, the study focuses on the value layer on the very top of the stack and analyze, the consequences that DeFi brings to the financial service layer. We investigate how DeFi startups extend their reach by fulfilling requirements from institutional investors and regulators. We examine the status quo of financial institutions like banks, exchanges, and asset managers who are starting to create services around crypto and digital assets. I repeat, who are starting to start services around crypto and digital assets for their clients. Anybody that tells you that crypto is a scam, or that DeFi is going away, or that it's going to get regulated out of existence, unfollow them and do more research, because it is 110% here to stay, right? With that being said, it goes on to say, we are still in the nascent days of institutional adoption of DeFi technologies. That is why we decided to take a qualitative approach and conduct a series of in-depth interviews, each about 1 hour, with experts with very different views on this topic. And you can see who they interviewed: heads of digital assets at banks, founders of C-level executives in Web3 fintech startups, compliance officers, legal experts, former and current regulators, and policymakers. So again, you should be paying attention. Now, to set the tone for the rest of this video breakdown, for any of you naysayers who think that financial institutions or banks are not going to adopt digital assets, here is, in this little tiny PDF right here, it says, we conducted approximately 50 interviews. Most participants have their headquarters in Europe, with the majority in Germany and Switzerland. Now, I highlighted that because I just shared a video clip of an individual representative that goes on to confirm that banks and financial institutions, particularly in Switzerland, are for a fact integrating crypto into their core banking infrastructure. Pay attention to key vocabulary.
So, Matthias, from your perspective, how is it looking like for the traditional financial systems to be able to build this new infrastructure and integrate it well with the traditional setups?
The question addressed to me. Yeah, Taurus, of course, has an important part to play as well there. Yeah, on the side of the banks, as we are quite fortunate, as I mentioned, many of the traditional banks are now already adopted cryptocurrencies into their core banking systems. This is very notable because what that means is most banks in Switzerland, with the exception of one that I know, actually set it up like security. So when you have a cryptocurrency in a core banking system, it's set up like a security. And that means that from a processes perspective, the hurdle for the bank to integrate into the digital asset space is a lot of the work has already been done.
Right? That's not coming from me. That's coming from an individual representative from a large organization telling you all that banks are integrating crypto into their core. Again, I repeat, their core infrastructure, the core banking system. This is not some joke, people. Crypto is not going away. So I hope that the intro of this, before we actually jump into the meat and the potatoes of this document, this has now sparked your interest because it has some very interesting things to say, considering some topics that we've covered in previous video breakdowns. Sorry, I'm going so fast. Again, I want this video to not be as long as it usually takes to get through this stuff so people actually watch the information. So let's go through this executive summary. This study examines the influence of blockchain tech on financial services. For now, it remains largely confined to the crypto assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. We know that the DeFi sector is expanding to other networks across the board, particularly this year, and focus has been the XRPL and services aimed at early adopters in the retail space. But hints of a broader change are everywhere. Again, are everywhere. For example, in the recent approval of the Bitcoin ETS or BlackRock's tokenized Build Fund, which I just did a live on this just a couple of days ago, in the US, it will also affect traditional assets like bond stocks and fund shares. When taking a visionary look into the future of the token economy, the investable universe for retail investors will widen significantly to products in the space of alternative investments, ESG-related themes, and real estate. This suggests that we are in the calm before the storm. Pay attention to that. We're actually going to highlight that in red and come back to that. That's important. We are in the calm before the storm. That may end up shaking the foundations of traditional finance. We have seen it before with other technologies. Limited early adoption and widespread skepticism gives way, seemingly overnight, to a new financial landscape, leaving unprepared people in the lurch. Do you see this right here? Okay? Leaving unprepared people in the lurch. You should be paying attention. This is important right here because they reiterate this in multiple statements throughout this document that if you do not adopt these technologies, you're going to get left behind. So here it says changes are for a fact coming right there, broad statement. Okay. These changes might not sweep away the entire financial industry, which I personally do not think will happen. I think that these new technologies will coexist alongside the old way of doing things. Financial risk, liquidity, and the basic logic of financial market forces will persist after all. But, I repeat, but the bigger risk by far lies in underestimating the approaching storm. So that's why I significantly highlighted this for you. They reiterate that. This suggests that we are in the calm before the storm. Pretty much at the end of the day, anyone that underestimates the power of what's about to happen, the wealth transfer of what's about to take place, again, a document where over 40 to 50 financial institutions to some degree were interviewed are telling you this. Okay, this is not some scam. This is not some, oh, Cyprus is just here to opinionate the markets. No, I'm trying to read and relay valuable information that, again, from another co-researcher shared to me that is going to go widely unnoticed. This video is probably going to get like 1,000, 2,000 views. Watch, okay? Because nobody cares about this stuff, but this is the stuff that matters. This is the stuff that shows you that for a fact, financial institutions are on the brink of mass adoption. Okay, and coming to this market in such a way, i.e. the crypto sector, that we have never, I mean retail traders in the world alike, because it's global, have never seen before. Okay, so let's continue. The introduction highlights of this article read, given the lack of reliable data and the complexity of the field, we have decided to take a qualitative approach. We conducted interviews with enormous individuals playing various key roles in and out the industry. Institutional DeFi is at its crossroads. We believe that the current institutions must prepare now for what is coming or face disruption and eventual obsolescence. So as an institution reading this or being interviewed by this, if they're being told that, again, if you do not prepare now, You're going to become obsolete. And I've shown you all multiple video breakdowns of systemically important people from large organizations on panel discussions saying the same exact thing. Listen here.
The foundational technology, we believe, is going to completely change worldwide supply chains. Our president, CEO, founder, now executive founder, Fred Smith, was on stage in New York City in early 2018 simply making statements like that. We think it's going to completely change worldwide supply chains. If you're not operating at the edge of innovation or technology, you need to be prepared to be commoditized or potentially to become extinct.
Right? We are at a decisive juncture in the development and adoption of the underlying technology. Make a choice, people. You got to wake up, tap in, or get left behind. Just like these financial institutions, manual retail traders across the board, not everybody's going to get to participate in this wealth transfer. And for a fact, people are going to get left behind. And yet, this only scratches the surface. Blockchains offer native value-added services like mining or staking, i.e. DeFi, right? Both bringing additional yields, yield-earning assets. Again, these assets, these digital assets that you hold can earn you yield. I'm not telling you guys to go and invest all of your hard-earned money, but at least at a minimum, start educating yourself on DeFi and the DeFi sector, which is the information that we provide in the Wealth 28 Club that you will have easy access to in a concentrated area, a well-structured course material for you to really dive into what DeFi is and understand to some degree how to benefit from it. That doesn't mean that you have to start to invest in it, but at least pursue your education. So the study right here, it says, the landscape of institutional DeFi, as hard as it is important, the landscape is in constant flux. And what is true today might not be true tomorrow. Now, I highlighted this portion right here for you guys because, again, this space is so rapid. It's so ever evolving. If you don't stay up to date with what's happening in the developments behind the scenes in the DeFi ecosystem, like most likely, again, the opportunities that are available now are not going to be the same opportunities in 4 or 5 years from now because it's consistently evolving. And things and people, again, in my personal opinion, are going to price you out. Because once these financial institutions come in, these digital assets are not going to be cents at the dollar, right? In my personal opinion, once trillions of dollars comes on chain and these financial institutions are in full swing offering these, DeFi opportunities to their clients, in my personal opinion, a lot of people are going to get priced out. Okay. And again, teach his own, do your own research on the projects that are attempting to be regulatory compliant, that are networking and connecting and partnering with these other large financial institutions that are already regulatory compliant, the companies and the organizations that are building out and helping build out the infrastructure layer that is necessary for these financial institutions to jump on board. And they, for a fact, exist. Again, in that previous live video, a couple videos ago, I don't know in what video stack order I'm going to upload this one in, but we've covered this. Okay. So the proof is in the pudding. You can go back and watch some previous video breakdowns on the CYPRX platform if you're new here. Okay. To continue, I have, let's see, we're on page 11. So I have a couple pages left to read. The disruption potential, these 3 points right here are important. It says the findings from this report. The disruption potential could be enormous. Financial services will be reshaped from the ground up in a scenario where institutional players might need DeFi services more than vice versa, right? So this is literally confirming something that I've shared with you all via a panel discussion from Financial Times where the individual representative said that financial institutions are going to come to crypto. Crypto is not going to come to financial institutions.
To that point, that things may not be in the financial world, and the basis that 2 of the 4 panelists are from technology companies and not from financial companies. So I think tokenization is very much, you will see a shift away from the financial world in the TradFi kind of inverted commas, if you like, to be much more technology orientated.
So, I mean, to go back to, the original question of the panel, you think that, where does that answer sit in relation to the question of the panel, I suppose, when we're moving away from traditional finance?
Yeah, traditional finance will move towards crypto,
okay,
and not the other way around.
Okay.
This is literally the same exact terminology, the same exact vocabulary that individual representative from a large organization said is the same terminology here, which leads me to believe that they are sitting behind closed door meetings, having the same exact discussions and conversations across the board because the terminology is similar. Long term, the market will converge on blockchains. Permission and permissionless applications will run side by side. As a likely inflection point approaches, legacy players must be prepared or risk being left behind. So again, to reiterate back to that piece above, where I mentioned to you all that they make this comment multiple times. It literally says we are at an inflection point. Legacy players must be prepared or get left behind. So what do you think, manual retail investors? It's the same exact thing, okay? You don't pay attention, you don't adopt, you don't get educated, you're going to get left behind. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's literally not rocket science. So last but not least, let's read a couple more statements. They see growing demand for their clients for investing in crypto and digital assets. Most banks have either partnered with fintech companies or are applied for their own crypto license to serve the new asset class to clients. Most agree that DeFi services, as they are constructed today, are way too complex for mass adoption. Typically, clients expect much more convenience on several dimensions like initial onboarding, which I agree with, general user experience, but also on the product side. By the same token, some interview partners are addressing exactly that issue by successfully harnessing complex technologies to facilitate mass adoption for the DeFi sector. Again, look at what it says. These financial participants right here, an interview with these participants are, for a fact, it says, are addressing exactly these issues for mass adoption of the DeFi sector. Okay, so they're literally telling you all that they're building out the infrastructure layer right now in order to accomplish this. This is not a hoax. This is not a game. DeFi is not a scam. They're developing this. They're testing this, proof of concepting it, and everything is happening right now in order for manual retail investors to get involved. And I showed you guys that again in a previous video breakdown, right? Step by step, showing you about Maple Finance and how they, how CYPRX had exponential growth this year. And again, if you go look at Maple Finance, what is it for? Institutional DeFi access. It's nuts when you actually pay attention to it, okay? So a couple more parts. Large disparities exist amongst the participants. Some early adopters from traditional finance like DZ Bank and asset managers like Union Investment have shown strong interest in this new fully on-chain way of building financial systems. They have created several proposals around smart derivative contracts. Other participants mentioned emerging standards like Actus. Now, I mentioned this because remember I said the CEO of the Blockchain Association in a panel discussion from roughly about a month ago only has 211 views, went on to say that, again, the negative headlines in the cryptocurrency space, pretty much ignore them. The crypto sector has emerged and has risen from those dark days. Now, she also mentions that these crypto native organizations have teams implemented in Washington.
Good reasons for it, right? I mean, if you look at what happened in the marketplace with FTX, with 3 Arrows Capital, with Terra Luna, there were a lot of really bad headlines around the crypto industry over the past couple of years, right? Crypto was clearly in the penalty box for a while. It wasn't perceived as something that was maybe even going to survive, let alone something that had good uses. I mean, if you looked at the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times every day, the headlines were terrible. But what happened in the past 6 months is we've actually emerged from that really bad period of time. And we've come out strong. The organizations in this space that are working on policy have really developed. We didn't have Stand With Crypto, for example. That has over 700,000 grassroots activists signed up to call their members of Congress when an opportunity arises. That group wasn't here a couple of years ago. We didn't have the Fair Shake Super PAC a couple of years ago. The Blockchain Association was here, but we were a lot smaller than we were today, right? I think if you look at all of the companies, the Coinbases of the world, the Krakens, some of the larger funds, they'll have teams in Washington now. This didn't exist a couple of years ago. So we're now in this space, in this place where we have all of the pieces that are needed to effectively engage in the process. And we're at a level of maturity that we didn't have before. So
Actus conference, this just took place where? Washington, D.C., May 15, 2024. And I shared a video breakdown on the X space of an individual representative from Casper talking about this exactly. Take a second and listen.
So my name is Mark Greenslade and I'm head of R&D at the Casper Association. And so this is a second Actus conference that we've been involved with as a co-organizer and partner. This is part of a longer term strategy to bring financial contracts into the kind of DLT space or blockchain space, servicing financial contracts. So adopting a standard such as Actus, which normalizes data around the financial services industry, is going to be a huge win for both regulators as well as financial institutions.
Right, so the annual Cactus Conference will take place in Washington, D.C. It already happened May 15, 2024. It's attempting to define taxonomies, data dictionaries, and technical specifications, and can be used to implement financial instruments on blockchains. Standards like these might play a significant role in the future-based blockchain financial services management sector. And who played a role in that? Casper did. People are sleeping on Casper because it's, 2 cents right now or something like that, because they're so fixated on price instead of fixating on what's actually happening behind the scenes. Last but not least, to confirm, it says opportunities for institutional players. Most participants see great potential to give retail and institutional clients access to DeFi services. I'll drop the mic right there. I don't know how else to, again, enlighten and awaken people to show them that this is for a fact happening. If you want to ignore it, if you want to deny it, just like this document tells you, just like these financial institutions are most likely going to fall behind, so will individual retail participants, in my personal belief, that don't, at least at a minimum, educate yourself. Again, you don't have to expose your capital. You don't have to take your digital assets and start earning yield on them. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to take it upon yourself to join a like-minded community, to invest in your education, to further your knowledge curve, to understand the potential opportunities that you have if you choose to partake in them. And that, again, is where the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club comes in, because we provide knowledge, we provide value, we provide information that goes readily unnoticed and not a lot of people are tapped into. If that sounds appetizing to you, we'd love to have you on the team. As always, I hope that you all enjoyed this video breakdown, showing you guys devils in the details, pairing this with some video panel discussions that we've shared publicly on the X Space from within inside our private Discord. As always, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Share this video breakdown. Many blessings. Be cognizant, be aware, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.